the self-determination initiatives across the eastern half of southern Nigeria. That is to say, the territory you now call the South-South and the South-East, but not as Nigeria describes them, but as nationalities trapped by geography and history in that territory. Ijaw, Ogoni, Anang, Efik, Igbo, Shekri, all
it's the coming together of nations, as it were.
Yes, they are there. They were there before the British got here, and the British lumped them together with other people without reference to them. And now they found themselves, fractured into 12 states from the one region they used to be from 1967. You understand? So it's a matter of taking charge of their space in the face of a Nigeria that has failed. The defunct Federation of Nigeria has left everybody almost to their own devices. And what do I mean by defunct? We had a federation at the time, the British that lumped us together in 1914 were about to leave. They got those who they had governed as separate countries to come to a meeting at which they agreed on what they were going to be doing together as one political union. And it was the contents of that agreement that defined what became the Federation of Nigeria at independence in 1960. And then the high point of that agreement is the level of autonomy. The regions, which were then 3 in number, the North, the Western, and the Eastern regions of the time, they went to Lancaster House in 1959 after each of them had made out their own constitutions in keeping with their sovereignties of the time. And we'll recall that in 1953, at the time Enohoro moved the motion for independence, that motion was opposed and defeated by the Northern delegation. And the Premier of the Northern region of the time, Ahmadu Bello, had indicated that the North was not prepared to go into independence with the rest of the country at the time, because they needed to. They said that the southern part was ahead of them in all things. That the British could not be going away, and then they would surrender themselves to where the South would step into the shoes of the British and begin to govern them. And therefore, he made an 8-point demand on behalf of Northern Nigeria of what should become, should be put in place before the North can join that union. Those 8 points took from 1953 to the 1960 to put in place. And those 8 points became the definition of the level of autonomy that defined that federation. A federation is simply a union of constitutions, like Germany and France and Portugal that will do European Union. That was the level of autonomy that Ahmadu Bello insisted upon at the time. And I'm going to this background so that we can understand what really is this restructuring we're talking about. Because it appears everybody has put their own definition to it, some out of ignorance, some out of mischief. Only recently the president went to France, I was talking about the laziness or cluelessness of those who are talking about this foundational issues. So what will you say to all of those who are willing to be educated? Because those who are choking in this union are also taking various steps, like you noted in your intro. They're not going to sit here and be enslaved in the manner that they are being enslaved. They are being killed. If it's just a matter of being enslaved, could have been a lesser problem. But now they are now being killed because they are Nigerians. So we have to ask ourselves, what is that Nigeria? The reason it has become a question so very urgent was that by 1966, things happened, and then soldiers came and toppled the 5 constitutions that defined that federation. It had become 5 because Midwestern region came in 1963. It started as a federation of 3 regions with 1 federal constitution, that is 4. By 1963 it became 5. By the coup of 66, those 5 constitutions were toppled, and you had this the centralization of power you had the center that should have been the union office of those federating regions now becoming the owner of the whole country, taking us to what we call unitarism, in which all the assets, all the economic assets, everything that you call Nigeria has now become the asset of a federal government that emerged in the midst of the confusion between 66 and 67, a rogue federal government, in the sense that you cannot have a federal government without a federation. Nigeria ceased to be a federation effectively in 1967.
Okay, let me take you back to 19